In chapter 5 of Proverbs, the action that is talked about almost entirely is staying away from adultery and faithfulness in marriage. We will talk about these at a later time. For now, we will look at what is said in verses 1, 7, and 12. Let's start with verse 1, which says, "Pay attention and turn your ear." Then verse 7 goes on to say, "Listen and don't turn away." We have been talking the last few days about gaining insight by learning new things and also about being reminded of old things. Much of life is rehearsing the old things that we are told over and over again, and also learning to actually do the old things by practice and by habit. It seems like sometimes when people tell us something, we just kind of roll our eyes and think, I've heard this before. Those are the things that Solomon, the writer of Proverbs, is telling us to pay attention to. Even the wording is like a picture of not rolling my eyes when it says, "Don't turn away." Like God is telling us to listen when he speaks. Also in our day and in our society, we get the idea that everyone is doing it, so it must be okay, whatever it is. God doesn't tell us to look around us to see what we should do and how we should live. He tells us to listen, don't turn away, and pay attention to what he says. I have found that sometimes I say to myself, I just don't think that this thing, whatever this thing is that important. It doesn't really matter if I do it or if I don't do it. There are some things I just want to do. I just don't think that it matters that much. And besides, sometimes I just want to do things my way. Obedience, however, brings insight. And I follow Christ not just for what I can get, but just because I follow him, just because it's the right thing to do. We further read in verse 12 about a person that has not listened and some things in their life have gone wrong. The person says basically, "How I have hated being told what to do." There are times we don't understand the why God is telling us something. But in the end, obedience just makes life easier. This is in the long run. It is not always the short-term, easy things, but it's a long-term reward that we're looking to from God.